You know, when we're talking about Christianity, this is a tradition that clearly is coming out of the Jewish tradition. And when we're talking first century, the Common Era, coming out of a period of Judaism that, well, the Israelites had been sort of constantly sort of occupied, attacked, right? There were expectations sort of during the century before Jesus, there were expectations of a coming Messiah who was somehow going to restore Israel to its rightful place because it had been occupied by so many other sort of countries, Assyria, Babylon, and so forth. So the emergence of a figure like Jesus, I think, is important to understand in that historical context, right? His followers thought he was the expected Messiah. And the expected Messiah at that time was to be someone who is either militarily going to restore Israel to its rightful place, sort of an independent nation, or through some great apocalyptic event was going to accomplish that. Those were sort of the two expectations within the Jewish tradition. Jesus comes forth, ultimately is crucified, and as I would sort of put it, his followers are asking the question, what happened? Right? The Messiah didn't accomplish what they expected. And so, however you want to sort of put this, their interpretation was, oh, this is a different kind of Messiah. This is a Messiah who has sacrificed himself to atone, right, the sins of the world. So this notion of sort of atonement theology emerged out of that context. They were actually borrowing from, right, various ritual traditions within the Jewish that, right, you sacrifice Yom Kippur, you sacrifice a goat and a sheep, right? So this notion of sacrifice to atone sins against God or the commandments of God was sort of, right, so they were filtering the idea of Jesus through that. But at any rate, it takes several centuries for Christianity to resolve that idea. Who is Jesus? Is Jesus fully divine? Is he partly divine? Is he one and the same with God? And so it takes several centuries for all of that to get worked out in terms of the Nicene Creed, for example. I would only say that what is significant to me in Christian history is when Constantine sort of adopts Christianity as the religion of the Roman Empire in this beginning of the 4th century. That marks an enormous transition from Christianity, from being a religion that was, sometimes oppressed and persecuted, but not always, but then became a kind of religion of the empire. And that sort of transformed Christianity into the world religion that we know it became, and the creation of the Roman Catholic sort of church and that kind of institutional religion.